Today I'm gonna do a little flip through my current bullet journal. So this is it. This is actually my 4th bullet journal. I started bullet journaling, it's a tongue twister. I started bullet journaling in grade 9 and I'm currently going into grade 12. So the first thing I want to say before I move on is that my bullet journal in grade 9 used to be an absolute mess. Like, it was not artistic at all. It was just me writing down lists and even like class notes occasionally. It was really just anything. It was a place for me to keep all of my lists. Actually, that's what it was originally for me, because in my room I used to keep sticky notes everywhere on the walls, and that was where I had all kinds of lists of all sorts. I don't know, I love making lists. So bullet journaling was my way to store all of those things, and eventually it morphed into like an agenda of sorts, and for some reason, I don't know, keeping a journal never really works for me, but bullet journaling worked wonders and I kept doing it. So in no way, shape or form do you have to be artistic to start a bullet journal. Today I'm going to show you what the essentials are for bullet journaling and some of the things that I have in my bullet journal. So let's get started. First things first is the actual book and the cover. So this is just a regular Moleskine. It's dotted, as you can see, and it's got a little pouch back here. This is where I keep my courses. Now the cover is actually a vinyl sticker that I cut out with my Cricut Explore Air machine. Alright, so first things first, in your bullet journal, you're going to want to have a cover page. So this is the way I laid out my cover page for this journal. In my previous journal, which was the same notebook but blue, I had like a round sort of wreath. So that's the first page. The next page I would like to keep sort of like an index of collections. Now the thing is, I want to go in order, and as you'll see, there's right after the Seize the Day Apocalypse, I have a spread that I've left blank where I want to rewrite all of my title and font ideas that I had in my previous bullet journal, and I just haven't gotten around to doing that, so I haven't really followed through with my index yet. But this is the first thing that you'll see. So the Seize the Day Apocalypse. Here I have, how many so far? 144 sort of bucket list ideas. I call it an apocalypse because I don't particularly like the word bucket list. And it's also from a movie or a TV show called No Tomorrow, where the characters create apocalypses, and it's sort of things they want to do, not before they die necessarily, but before the apocalypse happens, which is in 9 months in the TV show. Very good TV show, check it out. It's more of like a romance comedy. And also, you can see some of my favorite Seize the Day Apocalypse ideas in my blog. So I'll put a link to the specific post where I talk about this in the video, and then a link to my blog will be in the description. Next, I have a section where I keep my bullet system and my shortcut list for the computer and my color code, bullet code, and pen code. This is for highlighting. And this is just sort of in case I end up changing it. It takes a while after I've changed it to actually integrate it into my note-taking system in a way that I don't actually have to think about what I'm doing. Currently, it's pretty set in stone, so I take notes really quickly in class. In fact, you can see here, it matches, right? Both pink. It used to be both blue. I have another one of these actually. Where is it? Did I not bring it? Okay, well, yeah, I take my notes in class and I never rewrite my notes. And the reason why I can do this is because I have a very, very distinct color coding and note-taking system. With the Cornell note-taking system, little signifiers along the edges, you know, I draw arrows and stuff. I have highlighting systems, pen color systems. So I'll make a video where I do this specifically. It is going to be quite a lengthy video in that I have a lot to say about this, so I just haven't done that yet, but I promise you I will. And so if I ever change something in my color coding system, I always update it here first so that I can sort of get used to it and check back here if I forget. This is my bullet system for taking notes. You can find it in my blog, and I'll put a link to this in the video as well. But again, this this is actually the bullet system for my bullet journal, but it's also the bullet system for my notes. So one thing about me is that I really like to have everything consistent and applicable to anything that I do. So my bullet system in my bullet journal is not different in any way from the bullet system in my notebook. And same as the highlighting and the color coding system. So I like to have everything consistent. And that's why sometimes I do go through changes, because I realize something doesn't work for the bullet system as it does in the note system. All right. Now this is a spread that I really want to share on my blog and my Instagram. I just haven't done that yet because there's quite a bit of explanation here. But essentially it's sort of like little bars where I fill in different sort of key steps to achieving a general lifestyle habit. So like for eating well, there's several steps. There's like stopping before you're full, preservative free, eating healthy snacks, eating lots of fruits, lots of veggies, and being primarily sugar-free. And then, so that's sort of like specifically what I eat, and this is like how I eat, so eating small meals, eating frequently, taking to-go in restaurants if I don't finish the meal and not feeling like forced, like I have to finish it all, and eating mindfully. So I think I might do another video where I talk about this specifically, or I might just make a blog post. So this is the me spread. I made this spread to kind of remind me of some of the things that I appreciate in life. So this side is things I like about the world, and this side is things I like about myself. I like to have this section in case I ever feel down about myself or my accomplishments or my appearance. And then on this side is things that I like about the world, so if I'm ever feeling down about that, I can read it. So I'll read you a few of the things. There's cafes, beaches, tea shops, parks, movies, economics, lipstick, literature, math, pretty mugs, mascara, friends, hot chocolate, plays, ballets, scarves, and so on. So that's things I like about the world. Now I've dedicated a little spread for sticky notes. So this is where I'm just going to put general reminders. Now the next page, this is quite an essential if you're starting a bullet journal. It's your start of the year, not necessarily 2017, but your 2017 year in review and your cover page for 2017. So this is kind of the theme for my year of intent: eating well, exercising well, educating well, and sleeping well. So here I write down some of the key events that happened this year. And this is really good. Normally at the end of the year, I sort of sit down and I type up in my computer in like a notepad document or like a Word document some of the things that I've accomplished that year or things that have happened to me that year. And it's really nice to have that to look back at because we forget a lot of things. So this is the first year where I've done this, and I actually record things as they happen, which I find is much better because I forget way less things, and I can write down like little things that I wouldn't remember by the end of the year. Oh, and then I have another section. Next is my wish list spread. So here I just occasionally open it up for things that I want to eventually buy. For immediate shopping lists and grocery, I just sort of write that down on my phone, or I have it, my shopping list for grocery, I actually have in my new favorite recipe spread, which I'll get to in a bit. So this is just kind of, you know, things I eventually want to get, like black jeans. I've always wanted black jeans. Yoga pants long, I got those actually. Let's cross that off. Where's my pen? Here. This is the pen I use for bullet journaling, by the way. It's windy. It's the Muji 0.38 retractable gel pen. Now, for Learn Every Day, I haven't filled this in yet either, but I started kind of the general idea of what I want to have here. It's basically courses from online, especially Coursera. I absolutely love Coursera. I've done one course fully and got the certificate, and I've sort of audited about half of like 3 different courses, and it's just a really great platform for learning new things. This is a spread that I also haven't used too much, but I write down like motivational quotes and literary quotes that I like. I think I'll go back to this and fill it in someday. this is my June calendar. What I do is I make a calendar like this every single month, and this is where I sort of keep my events that I have to go to. But I also plan out things like, you know, packing, like going to the gym. This day was crossed out. Like exams and school tests and stuff. The other things, like for example, family dinner, like tutoring, those are all on my Google Calendar because I use that a lot. But I write them down here just for the sake of knowing what else is in that day when I schedule other things like studying or like going to the gym or, like I said, or school things. Because for school, I don't write that in my Google Calendar, I keep it here. So if I have a test or something, I write that down in my bullet journal and nowhere else. Now, what happened this month was I left for St. Andrews, which is in Scotland, and I realized that I don't actually have much to plan. Instead, I have a lot to write in terms of memories. And so I started doing this, which I really, really liked. So what I do now is I have a spread like this for planning things out, and then I have the same kind of layout, maybe different things in the side columns, where I write down my memories from that month. So it's like a sentence every day. And I'm planning on using these boxes here for little like signifiers that about the day, so like happiness that day, productivity that day, and stuff like that. And I'll probably use highlighters for that as well. So that's kind of like, here, I'm gonna cover this because I didn't quite want to show this. Kind of like I use it here with how I used to do my memories for months. So here was happiness, how much I slept the night before, my health in terms of eating, and my eyesight, so like how much time I spent on technology or on my phone. I've actually got an app on my phone called Moment. I'll put a link as well. And it's basically an app that tracks how much time you spend on your phone every day, and it's absolutely amazing. Now for the side column, I usually just do a little doodle, a quote for that month, and I always write down the number here. And then this is my color coding system for the events. So these are the Mildliners that are my favorite, which I use. And I use the gray one for tasks. So this is like packing, registering for some runs, and that's about it for this month. Then purple is for holiday, so this was no school that day. This was like Civvies Day, or where you don't have to wear a uniform. Then assignment is pink. There are no assignments in this month because there was no like school except for the econ exam and art exam. I mean, there was school, but I didn't really have tests or anything. Personal, these are basically things that you can find in my Google Calendar. So like family dinner, tutoring, eye appointment, which was canceled, etc. Then these two are kind of hard to distinguish actually. There's the blue, and then this is like a blue-green. So the blue-green, I used to use the actual green for this. This is for fitness. And then for after-school events, so these are, for example, I'm part of a club called DECA, so that's here. And then this one, unfortunately, I have to blur all of this. This is a spread for all of my dreams. And I find this really fascinating. I'm really fascinated by dreams and like what it means psychologically for you when you dream. But it's also just interesting because you forget I forget all of my dreams. And if I write them down like the morning of, I can read them later, and like just reading a little bit about them makes me remember them like it happened last night. And on to my very first set of dailies in this bullet journal. So that's the other thing that you need if you have a bullet journal. Well, I mean, you don't really need anything, but this is sort of what makes a bullet journal. Your dailies, really, you can lay them out however you want. I might do another video where I go through some of my older bullet journals, but lately I've been really digging this kind of style of layout where I use the first 4 squares to write down the number and the day. And then I skip a square for signifiers, like the happy face or the arrow, which means that I moved it to another day. And then I put the bullets. So I'll make a video for that specifically later on. And then lately I've been doing this. So I have a sticky note where I write down what my schedule is for that day. Now I've also got a section which looks kind of like a daily, but it's not. This is a section for ongoing tasks that I want to do. These were before exams, so I've pretty much done most of them, and I don't really use this anymore. I've got another section that's like a full page spread for ongoing things for the summer, and I think I'm just going to use that in the future for ongoing tasks instead of like a little section like this. And then I embellished this with some more of my washi tape. This is really cheap washi tape, by the way. It's from Dollarama, and it's sort of like plasticky and not as transparent. Actually, it's not transparent at all, but it still works. Now this is another daily spread. As you can see, it's really like whatever you want it to be. In a sense, I use it as an art form nowadays. It doesn't take me long to make though. Surprisingly, a lot of my friends ask me like, how long do you spend on this a day? It takes as much time as you want it to take. So yeah, these are sort of more sticky notes. Here I made a little blurb of things that I can do to take care of my eyes. I've got a pretty high prescription on my glasses. And then occasionally I do little like motivational segments in my bullet journal where I sort of remind myself of things that I want to focus on that week. And here's another example of a schedule sticky note. Now these are 2 spreads. This is my long-term to-do that I was talking about earlier, and this is a little fun spread for fun stuff to do. Some ideas for creativity are cooking, baking, making cards, crafting, DIY, YouTube video, blogging, writing a story, essay, making tea, planning outfits, paint your nails, do calligraphy, and so on. For self-development, there's Coursera courses, reading, comp-sci problem, work on a business, read the news, or a long-term task. Then for social, it would be go for dinner, ice cream, start a project or contest, watch a movie, botanic gardens, visit the library, plan an event, road trip, beach, and so on. And then for fitness, that would be like tennis, meditating, doing yoga, sleeping, dancing, skipping rope, stuff like that. Now this is an example of a spread which did not succeed and I stopped using after a while. And this is a spread for eye health, and it started June 12th, so I only started from June 12th. There's no point writing the dates from before then. And I kind of gave up halfway through the month. It just wasn't really practical for me. But this is sort of a way that you can lay out like a habit tracker, and basically you have some things that you want to do every day on this side, or maybe like once every few days or so on. And then you would, at the end of the day, fill in what you did that day. I used to keep a habit tracker for every month. I don't really do that anymore. I just don't really see the point, especially since it's summer. During the school, I sometimes do, but honestly, I prefer to just do that thing in the memories that I said where you put little highlighted squares here. And those are for kind of like general habits. So yeah, this is an example of one that didn't work, and I don't mind. I just leave it in my bullet journal. It's not a big issue. This spread you might have seen in my blog. I'll put a link to the post in the video, and I did it on a separate piece of paper, and then I just kind of like pasted it into this book, so I have it. These are ways to set the mood. So these are kind of like fun things that you can do if you want to create a good mood for studying or for being productive. Yet again, these are some more dailies. I like to do some washi tape from time to time. I've been doing that lately because I have more time during the summer. During the school, I don't actually do this too much. And here's again another motivational phrase or reminder. And something interesting about this section, oh, see, this one is incomplete, which is fine. I didn't put the date. But you'll see that here I've got like a little dash and sort of like a paragraph. This is like a little journal entry for that day. So as I said before, I write down a little sentence for every single day in that visual calendar format, but occasionally I might want to write some more for the day, or if something big happened, I'll kind of journal about it here. I've tried keeping a journal for this specifically, like a little separate notebook, but it never really works out for me, so I keep everything in my bullet journal. And at this point, I started doing schedules just directly in the bullet journal, and I accounted for that by giving less squares for each of these columns. Now again, this one I'm gonna have to blur. This is my very first full July memories spread. And this is what it's gonna look like from now on. It's really, really gorgeous. I'm really happy with how this turned out. I've got a section here for memories recap. So these are sort of big things that happened that month. From here, I'll probably move some things to my 2017 memories section, which was here. And in here, I've got a sentence for every single day about what I did that day and how I felt. So for the first half of this month, I was still in the UK. But when I got home, I started going back to like a workout routine, and I didn't want to include that in black pen in the regular memories for that day, so I would do that in like a light blue pen. Currently we're in the month of August, and this is what my August plan looks like. And then this is my current August memories, which is in the works. Currently we're on this day. Now these are some more dailies that I'm currently going through, and these are some spreads that I have. So first of all is a places to read spread. I don't need this here. And then I've got a summer apocalypse 2017. So these are some things that I want to accomplish before the summer ends. And then here I've got my workout ideas. So these are the 4 sort of types of workouts that you can do. There is the abdominal muscles, the arm, back, leg muscles, cardio endurance, and flexibility and balance. And I've written down some things that I can do for each sort of muscle group or each type of workout, and that's just so that I can vary things up. I'm the kind of person that hates sticking to just one routine. I like to have different things happening on different days. So yeah, and as you can see here, I didn't bother to rewrite this out. I just drew an arrow. Again, your bullet journal doesn't have to be perfect. Doesn't have to be artistic. As long as it works for you, then that's perfect. And here I'm really proud of this sticky note. Actually, it's sort of like a workout plan of how I can go about doing things depending on what I'm interested in doing that day. So this is always how I warm up, with a 10-minute warm-up run and some dynamic stretches. And then depending on whether I want to do cardio or strength that day, I kind of go through the flow chart. And then after I've done one of these, I move on to ab exercises if I'm on the strength, and if I'm not, then I do some yoga stretch. And these are ideas for my day off. I think I might make another video specifically about some workout ideas, but I really don't feel qualified to do that yet, since I haven't really developed a full-out workout for myself yet. So maybe in the next few months you'll see one of those. And this is also one of my favorite spreads. These are favorite recipes. Again, I'll put a link in the video to the blog post where I've shared this in greater detail, and like I've taken photos of different sections so that you can see it better. But basically, these are just ideas of yummy ingredients. So as I mentioned, I don't really keep a shopping list because I honestly just, if I want to buy some things, I look through these things. These are some of my favorite foods to buy from the grocery store. And these are raw food ideas, so like fruit that I can eat raw, and some vegetables like broccoli and carrots. So these are for snacking. And then these are prepped snacks. So like smoothies, muffins, honey or jam with bread, tea, fruit and crackers. Oh yeah, fruit and crackers, like sweet crackers. And then like cheese and crackers, stuff like that. Again, check that out in the blog. It's in much more detail. And then I've got breakfast ideas, sandwich ideas, salad ideas, soups, and meals. I use this spread a lot, and I spent like 3 hours, I think, making it on the plane ride from the UK, and I do not regret it one bit. It was so much fun to make. So for me, this is really like a relaxation technique, and it's a way to get things out of my mind and put them on paper, and also do some art in the process as well. And that's about it for my bullet journal. I just want to recap some of the things that you might want to keep in your bullet journal if you are just starting out. So you're going to want to have a cover page, and if you like indexes, then do an index. I am not too much of an index person, but I like to keep one for some things. A Seize the Day Apocalypse is quite cool, so try that out for yourself. And the 2017 year in review and 2017 cover page is also definitely a good thing to have in your bullet journal. And then your June calendar and your June memories spread, or not necessarily June, but your monthly calendar and monthly memories, dreams if you want, and then your daily spreads. So that's about all you really need in your bullet journal, but all these other things are ideas that you can have if you want to play around with it a bit more. And again, this is my 4th bullet journal. I've been doing it for about 3 years. It was by no means this organized or artistic when I first started out. So just start out, do what you can with it, and use it for putting lists down and organizing your days, and it'll really grow with you and you'll figure out what works for you as you go. Thanks so much for watching, and check out my other videos as well as my blog and Instagram. Links will be down in the description. Bye-bye!